Before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge that the flags are at half-mast here today and in support of the community of Aurora, Colorado in light of the recent tragedy that they've had there. And so we also stand with that community and the tough times that they're going through right now. Our hearts go out to the friends and families of the victims and their community. I'd also like to say a special thank you to my friends and family and neighbors in northern Nebraska in the Sandhills who are fighting the range fires today and have been fighting those range fires for several days. Their willingness to help neighbors and their bravery really stands out to all of us across the state. And one thing that fire will definitely make you acutely aware of is your availability of water, and we are very blessed in Nebraska to have abundant water in the form of the Ogallala Aquifer. Our farmers during this drought are very fortunate to be able to irrigate from the groundwater, and we're also thinking about folks in the other parts of the country who are struggling with water supplies. We are here today to stand with Michigan citizens and landowners from the Kalamazoo oil spill from 2 years ago today. So I'm going to open my remarks with a written statement from a member of that community named Susan Connolly. On July 25th, 2010, a pipeline company from Canada called Enbridge spilled more than 1 million gallons of toxic tar sands crude into Talmadge Creek. As the spill spread to the Kalamazoo River, Susan Connolly, a mother living near the spill area, tells what happened in the next hours, and these are Susan's words. My husband and I dropped off our children and headed to work. We still didn't know anything was going on. We just knew there was an odor in the air. When we picked up the children that evening, people were talking about something strange going on. The spill was now on the news, but nothing official, no warnings to our families. That evening, my son was throwing up. My daughter, within a few days of the spill, developed a strange rash. My daughter was only 2, and my son was 4.5. Children and staff were getting sick at the daycare. Migraine headaches, nausea, diarrhea, strange rashes, burning in the eyes and the throat. None of the health officials would associate the sickness to the oil spill. Actually, they wouldn't say much of anything. So we are here today to stand with citizens like Susan Connolly and other courageous citizens in the Michigan area, such as Deb Miller, Michelle Barlin Smith and her husband Terry, and John Bolenbaugh. I had the privilege of meeting many of these people in Michigan at the site of the Kalamazoo spill almost a year ago when I was visiting there as part of a larger tour of the pipeline route and pipeline-affected areas in the United States. And in addition to all the health problems in all the community, and a lot of the community there, and people who were even dying from problems and complications caused by this exposure, I saw a lot of other things that didn't bode well for the future of pipelines in places that don't have proper protections in place. I saw a submerged oil cover-up, where oil that had sunk to the bottom of streams and rivers was being covered up by the pipeline company in an attempt to mitigate their damages and their losses. I saw the pipeline company Enbridge buying land and trying to buy people's silence with money, with air filters for their homes, with hotel stays while they had to be evacuated. And I saw what can only be described as a disaster, an unmitigated and maybe unmitigable disaster that will be a part of that community for years and years and years to come. The spill that Enbridge originally reported was about 800,000 gallons. The EPA then reported that it was well over 1 million gallons. Now it's approaching $1 billion to clean up. And the basic thing that all involved can agree on is that the spill was caused, could have been prevented, but wasn't because of pipeline negligence. And the reason that pipeline companies are allowed to be negligent is because we have no standards for them. their leak detection system failed. And we've got another pipeline that is being proposed in this state. And we hear a lot of things about their state-of-the-art leak detection system. But it is still man-made technology, and anything made by the hand of man will fail. The only question is when, where, how bad, and what are we going to do when it happens. Enbridge was fined $3.7 million. Yet their total revenue for 2011 was $26.4 billion. And then, to top that off, they spent $5 million on an ad campaign to promote their next pipeline system. So you can see that the fines that we're imposing on these companies are a mere drop in the bucket, they're pocket change. But ultimately, no matter how much we fine oil companies for their accidents and their negligence, who ultimately pays the cost are the citizens and the communities. And that's why we're gathering here today to stand with citizens of Michigan and to stand and tell Nebraska lawmakers, our governor, and our legislature that we need laws and standards that will govern these pipelines, that will protect us, that will protect our communities, our water, and our friends and family in the future. Thank you.